Hi there, my name is Jyotika, and I'm going to start today's thought for the day by reading a poem, a famous poem called Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sound's a sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So, yes, a very famous poem, and it's deceptively simple, but it communicates great intimacy and mystery. So, the first verse tells us that he's decided to stop at a wood and watch it fill up with snow, and it's the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice. And then the next two verses are mainly around his horse's puzzlement at stopping there in the middle of nowhere with no one around. Then the final stanza says that though the woods are lovely and the experience he's having seems to be so tender and precious, he has promises to keep, and yet a long road ahead of him before he can rest. Miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep, which is very soothing in its rhythm and repetition, almost like a lullaby, but it belies attention. Why he's stopping, we never find out. His stopping is queer, as his horse senses, given he's promises to keep and a long way to go before he fulfills them. But he's been arrested by the beauty of the woods filling up with snow, and it seems like he needs a break. The miles ahead of him and the promises he has to keep are somewhat difficult to bear. Like all great poems, it means and can mean many different things. Something that struck me, though, when I read it again recently, was that there's something about the nature of faith in the poem, and certainly faith in the Buddhist tradition. So, according to the Buddha, faith is not belief or anything to do with religion. It's an innate human experience, and it is an experience, not a set of beliefs or concepts or ideas. Faith, or sraddha as it's known in Buddhism, sometimes translated as confidence, and arises when we suffer or are discontent or weighed down by something, by a long road ahead of us with many promises to keep. And though it might seem counterintuitive, the experience of feeling stretched and struggling is the most fertile field in which faith can grow in the human heart. But what does it look like? Well, according to Buddhism, it has three primary aspects. Faith allows us to see deeper truths, the deeper realities of our life and the universe. It also makes us more responsive to qualities and values like moral or aesthetic value, to beauty, like the woods filling up with snow. That is also faith. And it assures us that we have the capacity to grow and align ourselves more fully with the depths and the beauty and the values that we see and experience, even though the pain and the struggle we may be experiencing is strong and acute. So, in stopping by woods on a frosty evening, nature and its beauty arrests the burdened poet and releases him for a moment from his struggle. And in doing this, it opens and deepens his heart into intimacy, from which a now famous poem emerged. Our continuing lockdown makes the road ahead of us seem long, with miles to go before we sleep. But within the stress and strain of it all is faith, in the Buddhist sense, lurking. Can we see deeper truths? Can we see value, aesthetic or moral? And do we have a sense that we too have the capacity to change and grow?